your intros, a little bit of background on the company, on your own personal background. We'll start there. So anybody want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'll start, I guess. So my name's Chad Parker. I was a minor league coach for about 10 years and had a successful career, but I had kids growing up playing ball, and I was really doing a disservice to them. So I retired to try to, be around them more, be a good dad. And so I got into the tournament business after starting travel teams with a batting cage business, got into the tournament business, and it really took off. And I hooked up with the Braves, who I used to scout for. And, my whole deal was, let's do some stuff that makes kids enjoy the game. Too many kids are quitting because it's too hard. Let's do some stuff that's fun. So that's what the Braves agreed. So we started a Braves Country Battles travel tournament series. We did one in all 6 Braves Country states. Then we had a Braves Country Championship. Went really good. We would have a lot of Braves alumni come out, talk to the players, take pictures, sign autographs, that kind of stuff. And went really good, but we were wondering, are we really making a difference in the game? And where does the game need? And as you guys know, there's nothing wrong with travel ball. Travel ball is great at the highest level, but there's a lot of people playing travel ball that shouldn't be. And there's too many kids that are playing at a low level that probably should just be playing rec ball. And so the rec industry is really struggling. And so we decided as a staff with the Braves that we were just gonna, back the rec, and really the grassroots and the foundation of the game, that we were going to try to strengthen the rec departments. And so we started Braves Country Baseball and Softball, just basically a new little league that we're trying to rival Williamsport. We'll have the championships there in Atlanta. Do a Braves game, do all that. Braves uniforms for all the teams in the championships, the state champions. And last year we had year one, had 130 parks, and this year we'll have over 200. And we're off and running, and now other teams are taking notice. We're about to start Cardinals country in St. Louis. And before long, we'll have Texas Rangers country and Cincinnati Reds country, Tampa Rays country, Washington Nationals country, and we'll have a World Series. So really just trying to change the game from the ground up. And Playbook's just been awesome for us. It was great for me, as a travel tournament coordinator, director, but now we're going to be running our registration for our Little League program. Basically, said Little League is not connected with Little League, but basically running our memberships through Playbook now. So it's been great for us, and these guys are awesome to work with, always willing to answer, and that's just been
Really cool. How's the league office? How's MLB as a whole responding to this? Does this compete with their initiatives, or I know the clubs individually are hopping on board, but any feedback or pushback from them?
not yet.
Okay.
They love what we're doing. It's different than Little League. It's the same, but it's different, and they love that we're out in the community and doing a lot. So never can go wrong there.
Absolutely. And Mike, how about you? We'll kick it over to you. I know you're just at the field. Looks like you're back in the car now.
Yeah, trying to get to a quiet place. Yeah, so I'm in my 26th year of officiating. I can say that because every year I get drug onto a field when one of my umpires don't show up. So it's not always ideal, but it keeps me, I guess, going. I got into the tournament business because I was officiating for guys that didn't understand the rules, didn't understand baseball, and it just seemed like they wanted to make a buck. And so similar to Chad's story, I felt like it could be done better, and so we took a stab at it. And I started out with the owners of NCS, working in the same office as them, and they said, "Hey, Mike, we need directors, so why don't we're going to push you out of the nest and go be your own person." And I said, "Great." So I ran with NCS for a while until the guy that brought me on passed, and I didn't get along with the other owner so well, and so we moved on and just kind of did our own thing, and that's kind of how I found Playbook. And similar to Chad, Playbook's been awesome. We have a signature event called the DFW Youth World Baseball Classic. year one, we had kids register based off their heritage, mostly domestic kids. So like if you were got family from, the requirements were wherever your family's from is what you would sign up for. So we ended up with 76 teams last year. That spurred some international stuff, and this year's event's over 150 teams, 40 of those being true international teams from international academies. And so we're excited about that. Doing an individual player registration for that tournament is a pretty unique experience. So yeah, that's kind of my story, and I'm involved in other youth sports, but it doesn't have anything to do with baseball. I coach youth football as well. So just all around enjoy youth sports. So I think it's my way of staying involved. I played football and baseball all the way through high school, and then I played college football at the University of Maryland, Baylor. So I guess it's my way of just staying in the game, so to speak.
Sure. And when's that signature event, the international one?
We run it in August 1st through the 4th.
Okay. Super cool. I was just watching the MLB network earlier today, and they had Jaden Agassi on because he's pitching for the German national team. So that's pretty cool to see. I know the guy he played for out in Vegas. I was texting with him. Bill, we'll kick it over to you. And I know your story and situation is a little bit different. You're not all tournaments. You do a little bit of everything, lessons and camps and clinics and kind of the whole gamut. So tell us a little bit about the Golden State grind.
Well, initially I started out thinking, okay, a lot of these kids need someone to believe in them, right? Because people get cut, things like that. So I figured there's a better way. So out here in California, we were one of the first people to start doing player development, right? Now everybody's done it. But back then, there wasn't that much people doing it in 2005 and so on. So we started doing that. That was a little niche. Then we got a baseball facility, built it up from 3 teams to 35 teams. And then a business partner, he knows everything about baseball, started turning people off kind of, and then COVID hit. And when COVID hit out here, you can't do anything. Right? I had the city shut me down, the county, the state, and they still want rent. That's what we closed down. And then for about a year or so, now we rebuilt up in a different model, doing camps, clinics, like you said. So basically the camps are, when school's out, we have a camp. So we're basically cheap babysitting, and they get some fresh air, they get off video games, they get out there able to learn baseball. First half is fundamentals and, learning everything there is to know about baseball, mentally, physically, things like that. Second half is mainly applying what they learned in the games. So we'll do like home run derby, football, baseball, wiffle ball, World Series, things like that. That way we could stop and teach them what they're doing right and wrong, things like that. But we're trying to segue into leagues and tournaments ourselves right now. I used to work for NCS. They were all ruled back then. And and then I'm going to these leagues for my high school teams, and I'm paying $4,000 to play in these leagues. I could do it for $2,000. So I'm going to slide into doing that. I will stream every game so the kids get their own clips. I'll hook them up with a recruiting advisor. I will set them up with the metrics and all that. And that's what I was getting ready to get a track man right now. So that's what I was going to ask you is, when do you guys see being able to upload those metrics into your system?
Yeah, so there's a way that you can do it manually now. We have done.
But I want click a button.
Yeah, we're working on some API stuff. We have a few integrations with some different products. Like, we release so many updates weekly. I know that's in the product timeline, and it's just a matter of having enough need or enough requests for one given integration for us to push to the front of it.
Right. So we're going to slide the tournaments also. So what we usually go up to Reno, Nevada for World Series. They have a winter one and a summer one. He would be familiar with that with NCS. And I was thinking, we're in the Bay Area, California. Why don't I have a little World Series down here? And then piggyback that off of your hotel app and have people stay around here.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of the hotel side of it and the housing side, Brian, I know you guys have done more of that than anybody. You're an industry expert on both sides of the business. So why don't you talk a little bit? I save you for last because I know you have just an enormous amount of patience. So why don't you go ahead and tell us your story here?
Yes, that's what I've always been known for, is my level-headed, calm demeanor. Those that don't know, I'm Brian Werner, president of Prospect Wire and USA Premier Baseball. Got like everybody else, played growing up, played through college, went to Clemson and the University of South Florida. Went to work for the New York Yankees after I was done with college, and did some work in baseball operations and professional scouting, and eventually got a little bit burnt out. Anyone that's worked on the pro side of things knows how much of a business it is, and just kind of wanted to get back to the pureness of the game. Got into coaching for a little while here in the Tampa Bay area, and a childhood friend of mine, Matt Beaumeisel, was starting up Prospect Wire as just a showcase kind of thing. But I joined on board with him in 2008, was doing showcases, and we started doing tournaments in 2009, and mainly just in Florida. And then in 2012, moved out of Florida into Arizona as well. And in 2015, 2016, eventually made our way to California, and since then have acquired our parent company, DS Sports, acquired USA Premier, which was a husband and wife group that was running some baseball events in Southern California. So we acquired their events as well, and now run both the banners and everything. So we have a 12 event something scheduled, 15 events something scheduled out in California, and we're, as was already mentioned on the call, working our way back in California. It's still not. I don't ever want to say it's 100% back from the COVID days, because we're dealing with a whole lot of new obstacles with reserving facilities out there and everything. But our Prospect Wire was started with kind of that, as we always tell people, the other 98%. That actually need a platform or some kind of platform to perform on it at, and we tried to do it at an efficient level to where it wasn't breaking everyone's bank, and we weren't forcing people to jump through hoops, in order to play in any of our major events, in the beginning days and everything. Now we have the ability to separate and have events for different levels of teams and that kind of stuff. We started integrating the hotel aspect of it in, back when the state of play model was kind of the thing. And we never forced the state of play model, but we pushed as much as we could to work with as many destinations and have hotels in all different levels of price ranges and variants, whether it was a resort type atmosphere, whether it was just looking for a cheap motel, for someone to stay for a few nights or those kind of things. So we got into that. We were one of I never want to say we were one of the very first, but I think we were kind of at the front of the social media trend, with our events, with being able to push as many videos as we possibly could on kids to social media and those kind of things, which now we're very grateful to be able to do to their profiles as well. So kids all have that stuff in one spot, and they're not chasing them around all over Twitter and Instagram and those kind of places where we all post our stuff. That's kind of always been our thing, where we try to be the good guys. We're not trying to invade on territories where we know we have competitors that are doing good things out there. So we try to find places where we can kind of have, our own little thing and not obviously in Florida. We fight with everybody here in Florida, but it's our whole thing was just being able to try to put the full-blown tournament experience that, everyone's looking for out there without trying to break the bank, because at the end of the day, we know what we can push, and we know that there are things that do cost money, but at the same time, it doesn't cost, $10,000 to produce a great experience for somebody. And with you guys, we try to do it our own way. With Diamond Connect, as we tried to do it internally, and we found out that it's a very, very hard thing to do. And we were very grateful when we were able to hook up with Playbook, and it has streamlined our registration for most of our companies now under the DS Sports banner. It's streamlined the roster process, because there's so many of our competitors that use the same process, that use the same platforms now, that it becomes second nature. So for the majority of the teams that attend our events, they're used to using your software, and they're used to all the automation that comes with it. They're used to the processes that come with it, and it's made our lives a lot easier, but our ability to branch out and find new areas to run new events in, and bring the new Prospect Wire experience to places maybe that don't have those kind of tournaments and everything. It's allowed us to do that because we're not stressing over Google Docs and all that stuff anymore. So
job.
And it's been great. I mean, one of the things that I know we love, like Bill, you talked about the potential TrackMan integration, and Brian, I know your team has brought up another of features that are either suggested or, hey, what if we could do this? And, that's one thing that excites us, and I know gets Philly's mind going is if somebody's asking about it, there's probably more that have thought about it. And if we're able to get that into your guys' hands and it helps your business grow, and helps you run things more efficiently, that's really our bread and butter. So we're not going to just throw something at you and say, figure it out. We want to make sure that people are getting what they need. And it looks like we had a pinch hitter. It looks like Coach Aaron Pridmore, Banana Man himself, just hopped on. So I know we lost DeSantis, but Aaron, welcome.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you, I mean, this is super tough because you are Mr. Podcast. I feel a little bit intimidated, by this.
No.
Yeah, but
you can hear me, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
You're
cool.
Loud and clear.
Awesome.
That's an expensive microphone and headphones.
He comes in with the microphone, the headset.
Yeah, I've got all kind of stuff here with my podcast. So
Yeah. So you want to introduce yourself real quick and
yeah,
tell us what's up?
I'm Aaron Pridmore. I work for the Savannah Bananas, and I am the tournament coordinator for our youth banana ball events. We had our first event last year in Cleveland, Ohio. We had 75 teams, 48 different states. A couple international kids came. And it was the most kumbaya type of environment that I have ever seen or witnessed with a youth sports event. Nelson, he was there, but parents cheering on both teams congratulate. It was incredible. So we're in the process of planning this year's event, which is going to be in Savannah in July. And obviously super excited to have Playbook 365 here to support us. I know last year when we were going through our registrations with our first event, it was I think we used probably 5 or 6 different pieces of software, and it was a nightmare. And this year is awesome. I also am a podcast host. I started the Slide podcast back in 22, and we talk to youth baseball players all over the country and softball.
And you've made some of those kids celebrities or vice versa. I don't know,
Yeah.
chicken or the egg there, but those kids, all of a sudden my son will come out and be like, hey, did you see this dude? He's from, wherever, from South Carolina, check him out. And I'm like, holy smokes.
My son played against the Savannah Bananas for the Party Animals.
Oh.
Yeah. Billy Doobie,
Okay.
Florida Collegiate League.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I was interviewed by Latham, the kid umpire, for your podcast.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You look, as soon as I hopped in, your face was like, I was like, I've seen this dude somewhere before, but I didn't know where. But yeah, we've got it.
Guys, one of them there is the moms. I love it. So they bring all the kids, they bring all the families out there. It's a great experience.
It is. We don't charge gate fees. We're fans first. So the thing that parents hate the most is, and I am one of those parents, is gate fees. And we try to simplify and streamline everything, because the simpler we make it, the better experience it is for the parents and the families, and less for us to have to micromanage.
And hey, there's no gate fee, more money to spend on merchandise.
There you go.
Right? And they leave us something, free advertisement for you.
Well, hey, if you come to a Bananas game in Savannah, you don't even have to pay for food. So like like all your chicken sandwiches, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, sodas, chips, all that stuff's included with your $40 ticket. So
That's where he played at that stadium.
Yep. Grayson Stadium.
I don't know. You guys just brought up Latham, kid umpire. I was trying to ride his coattails at ABCA. Every booth that he was going up to, they were just giving him free stuff. I'm like, that's where it's at right there. I need to be a 9-year-old umpire. Doors open.
Dude, you'd be surprised at what these kids get sent.
It's pretty remarkable.
I mean,
But yeah, I think this next one really, Mike, it probably only applies to you, because I think out of this group, you're the only person that was running events last weekend.
Yeah.
I think you had two going on. You had the Jackie Classic and then the season opener up in North Texas. So you want to give us a little bit of rundown about both of those events and how they went and some highlights?
Yeah, I mean, it was unseasonably warm last weekend, so it made for a great weekend. And then, of course, this weekend we ran the Jackie Classic. Though that Jackie tournament, now a lot of people don't know this, and I guess I'm going to make it public now, but I actually went through the process of getting permission from his foundation to use his name and likeness on our tournaments. It took me over a year to get through to them and get that done, and we donate $100 a team foundation event. And at one time, before all my competitors found out that they could run on this weekend, so this weekend traditionally is the biggest PG event in the country down in Houston, and I'm 3.5 hours away from that. But in my market, my competitors wouldn't run on that weekend in the past. I said, screw it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go head to head with them. And for a couple of years, we were running neck and neck with them, 200 and 300 teams a weekend on that Jackie Classic. And then my competitors figured out that they could make money on those weekends, so they started running again. And everybody traditionally just took off that weekend because they didn't want to compete with Houston. And so at its peak, we were 300 teams in that event. And I think this last weekend we were at 78 or 79. So it's kind of gone down a little bit. But again, I'm sharing with 5 other guys that do what I do in Dallas, Fort Worth. So traditionally, after spring break, we run anywhere from 100 to 120 teams a weekend.
I mean, it's still at around 80 teams donating $100 back to the Jackie Robinson Foundation. That's pretty impactful and something that I really do believe should be highlighted because that'll make a difference.
Well, I try to stay very humble about the things that we donate to. I just don't want light shed on me that I'm doing something for accolades. We do it because it's the right thing to do, and we just
Seems to be your MO. Like I was, earlier today, I'm like, hey, can you send me a bio or something? Because you don't exist online other than to contact me form. I'm like, I don't know what the story is, but there is no story, which, is kind of along the same lines of what you're saying, right? Want to fly under the radar and, not bring light to it, but certain instances, I think it's okay to. So kudos to you.
Traditionally, I try not to have the spotlight on me, not because it makes me uncomfortable or anything. I'm in the business of promoting kids, and that's what my focus is on.
And speaking of those kids, anybody out there at the fields that you either saw firsthand or heard about this weekend that, put in some kind of performance that was worthwhile, notable?
Oh yeah. We had one kid go deep 3 times in the same game and then turn around and threw a no-hitter on top of that. So that was impressive. It was 14 AAA Arlington A's.
Okay.
I don't remember the young man's name, but we started using Scorebook this last opening weekend, and my dad would send me screenshots of the stats throughout the game, and I was like, I couldn't believe it. So he sent it to me like, this kid's working on a no-no, and he's got 2 home runs, and I was like, well, you just blew it. I hope you're not at the field. And he goes, no, I'm not at the field. I was like, okay, maybe you still got a chance. So, but yeah, kid threw a no-hitter and hit 3 bombs. So I don't know how you top that that'd probably be the only time he ever does that, I would imagine.
I'm gonna have to track down that roster, figure out who that is.
Yeah, I need his name. Yeah.
Right.
We'll get him on the podcast.
There you go.
So say, is he 14? We got a roster spot for him in Austin this year at the All-American event.
So there you go.
Kids moving up the ranks. And how about this weekend coming up? Who I think, Brian, you guys got something this weekend coming up, right?
Yeah, this weekend it's a new event that kind of came together. So long story short, DS Sports, which is our parent company over in the Sanford area, Lake Mary area, they own multiple collegiate event companies, Rustmat being the largest of them, but they also acquired the Palm Beach Challenge and the Snowbird Classic, which is over in Port Charlotte. And so with that came the ability for us. We're very fortunate during the spring to be able to piggyback off of Rustmat in Polk County and be able to use the facilities there. So we're doing the same thing in Port Charlotte. It's just a small event, 6 to 8 teams, whatever it was. But we're coming off fairly busy February for us. I think we had 73 total teams for our 2 February events, President's Day weekend, and then our spring kickoff. And now we roll into our spring break era, so to speak. We've got a couple spring break tournaments that we cover for other groups here in Florida, and then we run our own high school event in the middle. We run I think we've got 40-something teams, 50-something teams, whatever it is, for our spring break bash, which is our 13U and 14U event. And then our California stuff gets going with USA Premier out there St. Patrick's Day weekend. So we're kicking overdrive a little bit, but as you said at the beginning of this, it was nice to have a weekend off and everything. But we were very fortunate last week. We opened up, for those that know, here in Florida, the Chain of Lakes complex in Winter Haven, that was the old Cleveland Indians complex, was very, very much run down and very much an eyesore, is now a gorgeous 4-field TIF complex. The aesthetics are still being worked on. They're going to work on those throughout the summer, but we were very fortunate to be the first group that got to use that this weekend and sort of be the guinea pigs testing it out. But the weather was gorgeous, and we got some really, really good sunset pictures over one of the fields. But for those that haven't seen it, there's plenty of stuff now on social media, but the facility is gorgeous. What they've done with it compared to what it used to look like, the before and after, is amazing.
That's hilarious that you brought up Winter Haven. Because as you were talking about Rustmat, it brought me back to one, as a player with the Astros, going from Kissimmee down there to play, how miserable it was. Yeah. And then my first year as a JUCO coach, we're playing in Rustmat, and we had like 6 games scheduled there. And I'm like, I can't escape this place. Like, it is, it's terrible.
You would not believe, like, looking at it now, you would not even begin to understand like how that facility was the way
transformed.
Or it's unbelievable what they've done with it. They've done a really, really good job. It's a very cool. It's it's not your typical Clover looking facility. The fields are a little bit more spaced out a little bit, but they did a great job. Parking's going to be a little bit crazy when the volleyball and everything starts at the over there at the center that uses the same parking lot. So they're going to have to figure that out. Yeah, Polk County's a dream. We're looking at 19 fields now in Polk County without having to go to a high school field. So.
Nice. That's awesome. And what added insult to injury about Winter Haven too was that there was a CC's Pizza around the corner for the $5 pizza buffet. So you'd have a doubleheader and then max out on $5 pizzas, which is a terrible combination.
It actually still might be there. Nothing else in Winter Haven has really changed. Just that complex now.
Just the complex. Very cool. Well, hey, Chad, when do the leagues for Braves Country, when do those kick off? I think you're muted right now.
Yeah, we have March and April. We're going to have some Sunday, we call select ball, for all of our rec parks. Now, our rec parks in Atlanta, in our area, you're talking about 1,300 kids at each park. And so they like to get their all-star teams together early, do tryouts, this kind of stuff. So we're going to put some tournaments together. They're going to call select ball just to kind of get ready in March and April. And then May 17th is our first weekend. We think 24th, 25th, we'll have over 200 teams each in Metro Atlanta. And then May 31st and 1st, we'll have our district tournaments. We'll have 38 district tournaments going on at one time. The following weekend is regionals, and we cut every state into 3.
But you live in Texas, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm going to the airport. I got to
poop. So we had 3 regions in each state. So that'll be, 18 regionals going on at the same time. Then the following weekend, we have a state tournament in each state. So we'll have 6 state tournaments, June 14th and 15th. We'll also have, for the people who don't make a state tournament in Atlanta, we've got a Dale Murphy Classic that Dale's coming out and doing a lot of stuff. We'll buy all the kids number 3 jerseys, that kind of stuff. So just to make it fun for the teams that don't win. June 21st, 22nd, we'll probably have 400 teams in Atlanta. It's our open championship. We classify the all-star tournaments A, B, and C divisions based on how many kids they have in the park and in that age group. So we classify If they got 6 teams or more, they're A. If they got 3 teams or more, they're B. If they got 2 or below in that age group, they're C. And then if they're A, their second team plays B, and their third team plays C in that age group. So we'll have a Braves game, Braves parade, skills competition, home run derby, all that kind of stuff. Just a ton of fun for these rec all-star teams. And then the 28th and 29th, we'll have our 6 state champions in 12 divisions. And we buy Braves uniforms for them. They'll come do a parade on the field. We'll announce them, get them out on the field before a game, all that. We'll have a lot of fun with that. Take pictures of all the players, that kind of stuff. And then we play it out on Saturday and Sunday. Hopefully that'll be on. We're going to stream it this year. We're trying to get it on our new broadcast for TV, but definitely next year when the Braves kind of take over that, be on TV, and then looking for in 26 having a World Series with some other teams in July. So kind of May 17th through end of June, we're balls to the wall.
Are you also? We're Braves country where I'm at. I'm in Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. So our D2, our rec league just switched over to Braves company last year.
Yeah, it's a great area for us. We're gonna have 9 teams in that area this year at their state tournament, and then we've got Aiken, Columbia, 2 teams in Columbia coming up to that state tournament, and 2 teams from Charlotte coming over to that state tournament. So, yeah, it's gonna be a big deal this year. We're trying to make sure we get Tiger River, but they ain't working with us yet. So we're just at the different parks right now.
What you need? Do you need a connection there, or?
No, we have them. They have all their traditional travel ball tournaments there, and most people will say rec first, because all the rec teams play their games out there. A lot of them do. And most people say, well, if it's a rec tournament, we'll let you guys have first dibs. And we tried that last year, and they wouldn't. They said, no, we got travel tournaments. Yeah, for sure. And I understand it. I was a tournament director for 8 years. I get it, man. So I try to tell everybody, travel's not for everybody. It's great for a lot of people. It's great. It's not for everybody. Some people just need to have fun. What we see a lot, and you guys will understand this, only 25% of kids who play travel ball full-time by age 10 play high school baseball. Crazy. Only 25%. So what happens to those 75%, before they even hit puberty, they quit the game. That's the hard part. So it's not the ones that are doing well. It's not the ones that are, the AAA, the major kids that are doing well. That they're, they can afford it. They understand the grind. That's what they live for it. Some of those kids get burnt out, but if they love it, they love it. They keep playing and they develop. It's those AA kids and now single A kids that they want to be, and they go out and get beat 20-0, and they just do it time and time. And before long, like, this is not worth it. They don't go back and play rec ball either. They quit. They go play lacrosse.
Because they feel like if they go back and play rec ball, they're taking a step backward.
Right.
And they don't want to do that.
Right. And the way I feel, I had 3 boys do it. They all quit because they're all high-level quarterbacks. They play football. But the way I tried to make it so much fun when I coached travel ball, my last East Cobb team I coached, I was East Cobb Astros. We were 97-4. And at the end of that season, I was like, I don't want no more of this. This is crazy. So I just try to get people to understand kids need to enjoy what they're doing, and as a tournament director, and I love what some of you guys have said, make it fun, man. Do stuff to make it fun for the kids. So my whole saying is, if they say that was fun, I want to do it again next year, we've all won, but it's the ones that say, hey, I don't know, no more part of that. That's when we're killing the game, and we're killing the game to a point that if it all becomes travel ball, we're going to lose 90% of the population.
Some of them is the parents too, right? They have to
5%.
Yeah. Majority of the problems we're facing is the parents.
100%.
I got 100 stuff kids in college and the pros, and I tell them stuff, and they act like I'm crazy.
I get it.
We're doing this.
Yeah. And it's right. If I reach one kid, that's one less kid going to jail, or that's one more kid getting a good job, or being a product of a good citizen, and things like that. So, if I say, like, they go, why do you do it? Well, if I save one kid, I done my job.
Yeah.
Hey, Chad, what's the process for a group that wants to get involved with Braves Country? How do they go about doing that?
They go on the Braves website, their MLB website. We've got a page there. It's really hard to get to. We're buried. But if you Google Braves Country Baseball and Softball, we got everything on there. And there's a little form to fill out at the end. Comes to me. I turn around and call people. And then I go to a lot of conferences. Like I'm headed to Nashville here in about an hour for a Tennessee conference with all their rec parks. This year, the Braves TV deal was horrible last year. Only 30% of people who could view the Braves, wanted to view the Braves, could. This year it'll be 90%. And this year we'll have a commercial. We'll have all kinds of stuff about joining Braves Country. And it'll be more visible this year. But we did it basically word of mouth last year. We had 130 parks. So our goal is to get to 3,000 parks across. Our 6 states are Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina. We can't do anything in Florida. We can't do anything outside of our states. So that's what we're trying to do, is just make it, and then hopefully we'll get these other teams on board, like the Cardinals are. And really, it all works together. And I used to say this as a travel ball tournament director, is those rec all-star teams become travel teams. But you need that rec all-star team to build that. Like, you got to have the foundation. And the foundation has to be strong. So 5, 6, 7, 8, those teams need to be rec all-stars and be strong. And then, but you still need, for the overall game, you still need rec parks 9 through 12, 13, 14 before kids hit puberty. I was signed to have a tryout camp. They don't have tryout camps anymore. There ain't none of those kids around. Used to, you get old hayseed, come out there, long arms, and he might run 96 miles an hour, ain't played. All he played rec ball, and he'd get signed, and 3 years later he's in the big leagues. That don't happen anymore. They don't even have those camps anymore. All they're getting now is a bunch of entitled pricks, in my opinion. When they go play travel ball all their life, and since 6, they've had custom uniforms and all this stuff. When they go play minor league baseball, it's a downgrade.
No doubt. I said, I was telling somebody the other day, the first time I played on a college field was when I went to college. First time I played in a minor league ballpark is when I played minor league baseball. And now, if they're not playing on a all-turf complex with concession stands, lights, and it's like, what are we even doing here?
They're going to be there.
Now I'll say this: those 25% that do play high school ball, they're the elite. They're the ones who get drafted. They're the ones who get Division I scholarships. So it's a balance, right? You got to figure out the kid and stuff. But I'm a big 3-sport guy too. I mean, you talk to anybody who plays pro sports, they'll say multi-sport athletes are a lot better, a lot healthier, a lot of everything. So I love every bit of it. And it all works together. To me, it's just you got to have every level, though.
No doubt. And I think part of the reason you're saying, there's no more tryout camps, kids aren't, flying under the radar anymore, is because of social media, right? And because how accessible everything is. And I know, Mike, I was looking at the recap, I think on Facebook or Instagram or something from your guys' event last week. You do an awesome job of getting some really cool clips of the kids. I know, Brian, you guys do a great job of streaming things and getting stuff on social media. Anything new that you have planned for this year, or what's that been like, trying to deploy all those cameras and everything to all the different fields to make that happen? What's that process been like?
So for us, obviously, getting into the live streaming thing, with Athletes Go Live last year was new for us. We dabbled in it with a few other companies, and that was always the biggest thing for us, was trying to get the equipment that all these companies, these different companies had, to places like Arizona, and where you're dealing with the temperatures and all that kind of thing, or to get them out to California, where we're using potentially up to 15 fields in San Diego and those kind of things. So being able to with Athletes Go Live, it's basically just a small bag that contains basically what amounts to an Android looking phone, and some small equipment. So we're able to pack a box and send stuff out to our storage facility and just house it out there. So it's made it a lot easier to travel around and be able to get all of our games online to where parents can see it, especially in places where we do know we run some events that are, teams are traveling in from outside of the area. So not every parent can come make that trip to a San Diego, for example, or an Ogden or a Boise. So it gives us the opportunity to not only bring it to them, but also showcase those facilities and those places that we go to. Obviously, a place like Ogden, Utah, every backdrop you're looking at a gorgeous mountain range that's in the background, and being able to do that not only obviously makes our event look good, but it makes the city that the event is in, it highlights them as well, and it gives people maybe a chance that didn't know what Utah look like, or those kind of things, and hey, maybe that's a place that we'd like to go make a destination event to. So it works kind of as a good marketing play for us. That's been new for us. In terms of other new stuff for us, we're just looking for new places and some new events, but we're, as I said earlier, we're excited. Our All-American event, which is a kind of our signature showcase event that we run each year for the 14U, 15U, and 16U ages. It's always been at Vanderbilt. Unfortunately for us, Vanderbilt's been doing facility changes over the last 3 years, and this year, unfortunately, their right field wall has to come down to finish that stuff, and they offered to put up a temporary fencing, and after sitting down with them, we kind of came to the agreement, with as much social media work as we do, that it wouldn't play well for their marketing anymore for ours. So we are very grateful that the University of Texas reached out and wanted to host the event. So we're going to Austin this August, which, as anybody that's been there will tell you, it's not too much of a downgrade from Nashville. So we're pretty excited about going to Austin this August.
That's a prerequisite, is that in order to have the national event, there has to be great live music scene. Like those two are synonymous.
So, yeah, I mean, it definitely does not help, because at the same time, it is a celebration for our staff, because we do bring a lot of our staff, of our staff that did the best, our on-site staff, event staff that does the best throughout the year, usually gets a chance to attend that event with us and everything. But when we look for a place to put that event, Nashville has made the most sense, just because everyone, obviously everyone loves Nashville. Everyone can get to Nashville very easily. Usually flights from just about every city seem to be fairly inexpensive to get into Nashville. So when we started looking at different places to go to, we quickly realized that most of our connecting flights that we always take, especially on Southwest, end up going through Austin. So it centralizes it, and at the same time is a destination I think people will get pretty excited about. We've had some good response so far from the kids that are returning.
And no 8 a.m. first pitches.
No 8 a.m. first pitches at those. No, we may be there at 8 a.m., but the kids do not usually get going until about 9 or so. And that's only because we've got 3 groups that we got to get through. But now the whole 8 a.m. concept, I wish parents could understand. We hate it as much as everybody else hates it. But if you live in a place and run events in a place like Florida, if you do not start at 8 a.m., I assure you, you will not be finishing. Not only will you melt, you just will not be playing come the second round of games at 1 o'clock when thunderstorms start rolling in. So it's as much a weather thing as it is the heat.
No doubt. And you were talking about Arizona before. I witnessed firsthand actually a bird flying in the sky and just dropped dead because it's about 117 degrees at one of those USA baseball testing days.
We went there one year. I'll never forget this. We went one year and we asked them, like, was there a temperature that we have to pull the kids from the field? And we found out it's 120 on the index is the get them off the field. But the day that it actually did happen, we heard about reports that they basically shut down Phoenix's airport because planes' tires were melting on the runway while they were waiting to take off. I didn't even know that could be a thing.
Well, that's crazy. And Mike, Brian was talking about the live streaming.
Yeah,
there's two sides. I was gonna say there's two sides. There's like the live streaming, but then there's also like the social media content, and that's the one thing that stood out. Like you had somebody out there, or a number of people out there, with some really high res cameras doing some cool things, some player spotlights and stuff like that.
I'm sitting right here with me.
There he is.
So we spend a good bit of money on high level media, and it just, again, my goal is to promote kids in the game of baseball, and so we've made that dedication to hire professionals, and it's been I was against it at first because of the cost, and then my partners talked me into it, and now they're like, Mike, slow down a little bit. You're spending too much money. So, but yeah, we do the crew that I have, the lead guy, his name's Albert. Albert does stuff with Nike, Under Armour, EA Sports. He was at the Tyson fight working that event, so he's world class. And then obviously, when you got a world class guy, he's got guys under that are with him that are also world class. And so I feel like we do a really good job with social media. I'd love to brag and say we're leaders in the industry. And I feel like we're on the youth side. We're there. I know there's a lot of guys in the high school space that do a really good job too. But from the youth aspect, I feel like we're leaders in that area. We try to get out content that keeps your attention. It's about the one thing about it is we've gotten really good at it is that we understand you got about 6 to 8 seconds and then they're just going to scroll on to the next one. So the thing that the kids really love is the mic'd up content and the player interviews. My social media guys hate it because they're like, oh, that stuff's boring. No one's going to follow us. And I'm like, yeah, but you got to do stuff that pays the bills too. And that's what gets the kids coming back is they get to watch themselves, on a mic'd up content. And so oddly enough, the mic'd up content ends up getting the most views anyways, because they share it about 1 million times and their parents share it 1 million times. So it's kind of like go back and forth with the creative types and let them know that not everything they say is always absolutely true. So
usually it's the untrue stuff that gets you more likes.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we've also learned that the really bad videos that generate negative comments get a ton of likes, and I hate that, but that's just kind of the world we live in right now. And I did have a mom ask me, it's like, hey, like, it's been up for a couple of weeks and it's got 3 million views, but can you take it down? I'm like, yeah, I see your point. I'll take it down. So it was a chant that her daughter did, and it just got a lot of negative comments. Just people are ugly.
Now, does that play into when you're scheduling and you're going through that? Do you deploy the social media crew to a certain spot, or do you schedule the teams intentionally knowing that those are the ones you're going to want to follow and mic up and do all that stuff with?
No, it's 100% random, and I find that for me, that makes it even that much better because, as I'm sure you're aware, when you're doing stuff like that, I get hit all the time with not only parents, but kids from all over the country. They're like, hey, when you come into Ohio? Like, I'm not. I live in Texas. I'm sorry. Then there's parents are asking me all the time, hey, can you come by and get our team? And I'm like, so for me, it's just great to say, hey, I have no control over it. We just send them out. They capture what they want to capture, and we post what's good. And we get beat up a lot too. Like, hey, you did an interview with my kid, and well, the video's not great, so we don't post it, but they want to see it anyways. So it's not all great. There's some negativity and some challenges to it, to say the least.
For sure. So let's do this. We're going to wrap things up here, and something that, I'd like to do, and this could be either someone that you work with currently, a coach that is in your events, or somebody from your past, a personal coach of yours, at the high school, college, pro level, whatever. Give me one person that you just think does it right and you model yourself after or really look up to. Because I think that'd be a really neat way to kind of close this out. So anybody want to go first on that one?
Yeah, mine's the late Don Myers, who was a co-owner of NCS, passed from cancer a few years back. So, but he's the one that got me into this mess, and we try to live by his standard, at least from a business aspect point.
For me, it probably plays back to my playing days, but more so just the respect that I have for him and everything he's done since I was at Clemson is Tim Corbin, one of the most genuine human beings I've ever had a chance to meet, to play for, and still get a chance to talk to. And it just, everything you see online, everything you hear about him in every interview, it's amazing how patient he is, and kind of always has made you feel like you are the most important person in the conversation when he's talking to you. So it's what he's done for me in my career and taught me lessons in life, as well as things he's done for us when we were running our events there. I'll never forget, he was driving home from dinner one night and ran into like 15 of our All-Americans who were using the little scooters to, dilly about Vanderbilt's campus. And he stopped and talked to them for like 15 to 20 minutes and just was asking them questions about their lives and where they came from and everything. And didn't have to do that. It could have just done a quick drive by and everything, but that's just the kind of guy he is. So huge amounts of respect for Coach Cole.
Looks like,
The guy you work with, Joe Marker, I mean, he rolled this out to 4,000 camps a year. That's pretty amazing. And then sold that business off to Nike, mate. And he's still getting paid, right? Getting paid by Nike, and he's a consultant getting paid by Nike.
yeah. And actually, there's a common bond with Flex there too, and Marker, and a guy that we all do some work with, and Eric Blakely played for him.
Yep.
It's pretty cool. Even Flex, even though you didn't join for the rest of the call, you want to shout out somebody?
Yeah. One of my favorites is Scott Forbes. So Scott obviously is doing great things at North Carolina now. He coached me at Winthrop whenever he was there. He was obviously a young coach at the time, but he really impressed upon me just like kind of like the standard of he was very competitive, still is, and he's a great coach, but the family life, like the work-life balance that he showed, and just the way that you can be just like a good person and do things the right way, it just spoke volumes to me. And I could tell that he really tried when he was with us on the field. He tried to spend a lot of time, not to just impact us as a player, but as a human. So he was awesome. I've had other coaches, and I'm sure everybody in this call has like him, but he was great for me.
It's awesome. And I'll say this, like, this probably sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's the truth. Part of the reason selfishly I wanted to do this is because I think I learned so much from each and every one of you guys, everybody that's in this industry. Sometimes it gets a bad rap, but I really do believe that even kind of the most controversial people that are in the game of baseball full time, their heart's in the right place. They may make a bad decision from time to time, or they may, have some, be at odds with some people. But I've tried to stay Switzerland through a lot of those things. Because I really do believe that, to be in youth sports, like, you got to love the kids, and you got to love the game, and you got to love just every aspect of it, even when it is tough. So I'll say the cheesy thing and say that, all you guys inspire me in your own unique ways. So keep doing what you're doing, and spend an hour today on a Monday just talking about it is really cool. And I appreciate that. And I know from all of us at Playbook, like, we appreciate your guys' partnership and what you do with each of your businesses.